Hi, this is Ty Jagger with a Talk to Remember, and today I got Jagger from 1021 The Edge here in Dallas. Jagger, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, thanks. Good to see you again.
Thank you for doing this away again, because I interviewed back about a year ago for Edge Fest in 2015. That was a fun time meeting you there, and I'm going to have a great time interviewing you again.
Thank you.
So, to start off, you're a disc jockey. Why did you pick this profession?
Well, it's kind of funny because I started college as an accounting major, and I challenge anybody to do the exact same thing and guarantee that you'll change your mind as well. So I was like, man, what was I thinking? But then I changed to economics and finance because I like business, but I was like, this is way too much. This is too hard. So I actually quit school. Had a really good job, was making pretty good money, and my dad came to me and said, you might want to reconsider. So I thought about what he said, and I'm like, yeah, I do need to go back to school. And so I was going through the catalog, and I saw communications, and I'm like, oh, it never dawned on me that you could do radio and TV actually, in college, and then try to do that as a career. So that was like a lightning bolt that hit me. So I re-registered, went back to school, started doing communications, and then got a job in my hometown, and boom, I was off to the races.
And so you said you got to start in your hometown. Like, what was that radio station like in your first job in radio?
That was a little 1,000-watt AM station. And if wattage doesn't mean anything, big stations are 50,000 watts, 100,000 watts. But basically, it was a little local AM radio station. And back then, there was full-time jobs, from 6 o'clock in the morning till midnight. Now I think that same station where I worked and many others did has one person that's live and the rest is automated. So that's how much the business has changed. But because of that, it gave me the opportunity to get started. And I started out as a afternoon news guy. I was doing the news in the afternoon and then became the program director, started doing the morning show, doing a talk show there and lots of other things.
All right, whenever you did first get that job, what is your ultimate goal in this profession?
Well, I was always very interested in programming, being the person that was responsible for what gets played on the air, who's on the air on the station, what does the station sound like. I really liked that, but then I realized that you could actually make more money if you concentrated on being one of the talents on the air. So the program directors were more in charge, but the talent made more money. So I just kept following the money because I kept getting better opportunities.
All right, and with that first job, what was your inspiration, or who was your inspiration?
Well, at that point, there really wasn't anybody. I mean, I had grown up listening to radio in Pittsburgh because I grew up just outside of Pittsburgh, and there was a big station called KDKA. And I guess there were a couple of people that I was aware of, but I never paid attention to radio like that, thinking, oh, I'm going to do that one day. Because it wasn't until I was in college, quit, and then went back that I thought, oh, you could do this as a career. So I listened passively to people that were on the radio, never thinking, I'm going to be that guy one day.
And you've been in radio for a long time, because I saw for almost 40 years. Is that right?
Since 1980. So do the math.
I can't do math in my head really well.
36, 37, somewhere. Yeah.
My age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, but so what have you seen change in the profession over the years?
Well, the biggest thing is jobs, the loss of jobs, the massive loss of jobs. Like I said, when I started at my radio station, there were 2 or 3 people that worked in the morning. There was somebody staffed all day. There were 2 people in the afternoons, and then there was a night person. And now that's down to, I think, 1 live body in that whole building. Automation has, definitely changed everything. Corporations took over. Corporations have a tendency to suck the life and fun out of a lot of things, and radio to me is one of those things that are included. In some respects, it was good. In some respects, it's really bad. So you take it for what it is, and that's the business, and that's the industry that we work in now. So that's the biggest difference. The fact that people now, if you want to get into radio, those stations that I started at, that had a lot of jobs don't exist anymore. So it's so much more difficult to even try to get into a job somewhere where you can start at that level. It was like the farm league for baseball teams. You had all these radio stations that everybody could start at. Everybody sucked. Everybody was terrible. But that was okay because the more time you spent on the air, the better you got and you moved your way up through the ranks. Now it's a whole new world.
All right, so with all these different changes, what do you see will be the future in radio?
That's what if I could figure that out and I knew for sure, then we'd all be all over it. Radio is going to exist in some form. It always will. I think it's, people have called for the death of radio for a long time, back when MTV started playing music videos. How'd that work out? Yeah. So radio is always going to be there. As much as they have tried to, I don't think purposely destroy it, but because of the way the things are structured financially and the way they run companies now, they did a lot of damage. But even despite that, radio still thrives, and there's a lot of listeners. We just don't have as many local people on the air, but I think it's one of those things that's always going to be there. Now, does it have a lot of competition from apps? Our own company has the iHeartRadio app. There's Spotify. There's, you go down the list of all the other options that you have out there, but that's just another option for everybody that listens to and consumes radio, music, or anything like that. Just like television. I remember when TV started cable, they're like, oh, it's going to ruin all the local channels. Well, the local channels are still on. And then HBO was going to ruin the movie theaters. No, it's all a big part of all of the entertainment. So it's just more options. So you have to, in theory, get better at what you do to survive.
At one point, I did see that you made like a transition to hosting a TV show at one point. How was that transition from radio to TV?
That was interesting because I had never done television before, not on that kind of a scale. And I had auditioned for some things, and then I got the phone call and said, hey, you got the job after a series of auditions. And I was like, okay. So I went out there and I thought they hired me for me, and my personality. And I sat down in the chair and I was going to be the host of the show. And I started being me, and I got pulled to the side and I was told, well, we hired you for you, but we really want you to be the moral compass of the show. So we don't want you to be, you. I'm like, okay, you hired me to be me, but you don't want me to be me. It was very confusing. But I could adjust easily. I was like, okay, whatever you want me to be, that's what I'll be. And in that respect, it was not that difficult, but it was weird. And it was also the visual aspect of it bothered me because on radio, you don't even pay attention. You roll in, you just, don't care about what you look like or smell like, or, well, you should maybe worry about that. But on television, it's that constant cameras on you and different angles, and it could drive you crazy. I tried to just avoid the monitor. Like, I didn't allow them to have a monitor in front of me, so I didn't want to see myself. I'm like, whatever you guys shoot, that's it. I don't want to see it because it's too damn distracting. So they would turn the monitor to make sure I wasn't distracted. And so I just did what I did, and it was fun. It was interesting. It was also, I could see and I just had a small show. I mean, it was a syndicated show. It was on all over the country, but I could see where they create monsters because the way they treat you because you're on TV is very different than the way they treat you because you're on the radio. So that was interesting as well.
All right. So would you say that you prefer radio over TV?
Yeah, on a day-to-day grind, radio definitely is something that I've always done, always enjoyed, always liked. And to me, a lot less stress because the stress of TV and how do you look and all of that stuff that kind of goes with it that's really weird. And people claim they don't think too much about it or worry about it. I say BS on that because you can't help it. If you're on TV, those are all the things that you have to be concerned about. And I would rather not have to be worried about that and just come in and do what I do, which is fun. However, the money on television is substantially different. So in that respect, it makes a difference.
All right, so we're now going to get out of the serious side, and we're going to go into what I like to call the lightning round, fun round.
All right, let's hit it.
All right, so I'm just going to ask you all these questions. They're either going to be questions about what would you do in this situation or just about your favorite band or something like that.
Okay.
All right, so to start out, would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Oh, geez. I think it would be more fun with 100 duck-sized horses. Because that would just be such a weird scene. I'd be like, what drugs did I take?
All right, favorite band?
Oh, boy. You know what? That's a tough question because I can never answer that. It changes all the time. And that's not just a BS answer. Because I've listened to music for a long time. And so those bands change all the time. I can go back. If you ask me, like, back then, what was your favorite band? I could probably tell you. But if I had to pick one all-time, hands-down favorite band, I would still have to go with Pink Floyd.
All right, favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show? Man, it's got to be a live sporting event because I just don't watch too many TV shows. Used to, just, I don't know. I love baseball, so live sporting events.
So who's your favorite sport team then?
The Rangers in baseball, Steelers in football, Cowboys second. I can root for both because the AFC and NFC. And the only time I don't root for the Cowboys is when they play each other.
Yeah. All right. What superpower would you have?
Would I? Man, I would love to fly. If I could fly like Superman, yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Favorite movie?
Godfather.
Celebrity crush?
That changes a lot too. Man.
Let's say
Who
right
lately?
now. Let's say right now.
What's the guy that played Thor?
Who was that?
Help me out here. It's Chris Hemsworth. Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth.
There you go. Thor. Does that count?
I'll take that.
Okay.
What's 2 + 2?
4.
Are you sure?
It rhymes with Thor.
Final answer?
Yes.
What person do you want to meet the most that's alive?
I would love to meet President Obama.
All right. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite food?
Chicken Parmesan has always been my favorite.
What is the powerhouse of a cell? This is science here.
I have no idea what you just asked me.
The powerhouse of a cell.
A neutron. I don't know. Do you know the answer?
Yes, I do.
What is the answer?
It's the mitochondria.
That was my second guess.
Just like Billy the Kid. He said it was a band, and then he said something else.
I was like, I didn't even understand the question. I mean, what?
All right. Best impression.
Winnie the Pooh. Oh, Piglet, if I could just have a bit of honey. No? Anybody? Anybody?
That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Come on.
It's like he's in the room.
Yeah. I because of my daughters, I learned that.
Red grapes or green grapes?
All green grapes.
Favorite nickname?
Chief. I used to be called Chief.
And the final answer, what is the stupidest caller you've ever had to take?
Oh, man. I used to do a show called Love Phones. And it was a show that was a call-in show. And Dr. Judy was a clinical psychologist and a certified sex therapist. And we would take calls, and I would have to try to keep a straight face. And you'd be like, okay, there's no way this is true. But a woman called up and said she was staying over at a friend's house who had children, and she couldn't figure out why she woke up that morning, stood up, and marbles fell out of her private parts. And I was like, okay, there's no way this is true. Because my first question was, how sound do you sleep if somebody's actually shooting marbles into your, private areas? So that one always stands out as like, how crazy is this woman?
Yeah, so kind of go with the callers. What do you do if you get a stupid caller like that, or a caller that seems ridiculous?
Oh, you try to have as much fun with them as possible, unless it's so just blatantly stupid that they're not fooling anybody. She played it really, really well, so you thought, oh, this is possible. So in that respect, then you take it and run with it and do the best you can. If it's just way over the top dumb, you just hang up on them.
All right, well, thank you, Jagger. You can listen to Jagger on 102.1 The Edge on mornings. Do you have a website?
KDGE.com, and our blog pages, our individuals are on there. You can find the Jagger Morning page there.
You can find it at KDGE, .com, and you can find more of a Talk to Remember on my site, tyjager.weebly.com. Again, thank you, Jagger, and we'll see you next time.
My pleasure. Thank you.